Let's turn to Christopher Young. He's the Donald Brent Chair of Non-Western Strategic Thought at the U.S. Marine Corps University. Christopher, welcome.
Thank you.
So sanctions, we've seen them come and go. Certainly hasn't made a whole lot of difference in the past. How do we know they're going to make a difference this time?
We don't for sure, but as your reporters have noted, this is the largest sanction that we've seen so far. $1 billion aimed at North Korean exports. It's a pretty huge chunk of the North Korean economy. So it looks like, at least in terms of what's different, is this is the largest economic sanction to date and aimed specifically at currency earning revenue for the North Koreans. So I have to admit, I'm surprised at the unity within the Security Council, the cooperation between China, Russia, and the United States to allow this to happen. So I'm hopeful that this will actually have a large impact. But as usual, I have to be somewhat cautious. We've seen sanctions before, and we've seen the rhetoric coming out of North Korea that this, they're not going to budge on the nuclear north.
And what do you make of the rhetoric? I mean, more threats today against the United States. So with that type of language, is DPRK a nation that can really be negotiated with? Do they even want a peaceful solution to this crisis?
Well, I guess it depends on your point of view. I mean, on the one hand, you could argue that the North Koreans' rhetoric is a negotiating position. That is, their strong rhetoric will be their going-in position for strong demands for what they would negotiate away. So I'm skeptical that the North Koreans would give up their nuclear weapons, but on the other hand, the North Koreans could come in asking for certain stricter measures, certain things in return, but still not give up their nuclear weapons. Now, the difficulty, I think, will be China, eager for some sort of diplomatic solution, siding with North Korea that they have now returned to the negotiating table, short of the demand that North Korea give up its nuclear weapons. So that's where the devil will be in the details down the road.
So do you still believe this crisis can be resolved through a diplomatic solution?
Yes.
Is there still room for diplomacy?
I think so. I do think that's the case. Now, China, for example, has a number of other additional economic actions it can take. You'll notice that in the sanctions that have just been agreed upon, China was reluctant to cut off fuel, oil to North Korea. That gives them another option, another coercive stick to get North Korea back to the table.
Let's talk more about China. They have put on the table this two-pronged approach. ROK and the United States stop their military drills.
Yes.
And in return, the DPRK would promise to stop these missile tests and then get everyone back to the negotiating table. Do you think this proposal is getting enough traction in the West?
I don't think so. And personally, I don't think it's a particularly good idea.
Why?
I can understand the Chinese view of it, and it's certainly an enticing offer. It's not a particularly good proposal for a number of reasons. One, the United States and South Korea need to stay in lockstep with regard to dealing with North Korea. And so an agreement to halt, freeze exercises, frankly, over time would erode South Korean confidence in American solidarity with regard to the alliance.
But the South Koreans have also put their support behind this agreement, or this proposal, I should say.
Well, they've indicated that. They've certainly said, we are interested in talking about it. But we've seen South Korean administrations voice similar support to water down the interactions or the cooperation between the United States and South Korea. And so we've seen them come and we've seen them go. So I would say that from an American perspective, hold the line and not actually go for the two-pronged approach. I think it's too dangerous for the U.S. relationship with South Korea, despite what the current South Korean administration is arguing for.
All right, we'll leave it there. Christopher Young, thank you so much, sir.